Well, universe, I think I'm back. I mean, I didn't really leave. Okay, existentially, I'm confirming that I never went anywhere. I've always been incarnated. This body has existed, as far as I know, in all waking hours exactly as it sits now. And I've just been choosing not to record these podcast diatribes. Although I have opted to record some, but just never got something that I liked enough to put up. And put up means what? Publish to the universe, right? All right, so, whoa, oh, you'd think after 26 days off I wouldn't be this tired, right? But maybe that's where I was, exhausting myself. And frankly, I'm exhausting myself lately. That's not a good pattern to be in. But I've been exhausting myself because I've been helping people. And not helping them finish their drugs or shit like that. I mean, actually helping people. Helping people move, helping people find the necessary conduit to get a state ID that day, whatever. I've been helping people. And I'm tired. February was a live my values kind of month. Because February has challenged me on levels that were too challenging to record, that's for sure. February will be the first true momentum, direction, reestablishment that my new life is choosing. Choosing's wrong, though. I mean, ever since I got the tailwind, which I've had now for 6-7 years, when I really need to be aiming at a specific issue, activity, outcome, whatever, I get turned that way by my inner oh, kitty. 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 There you go. Up. Get off the radio, please. We don't want to listen to that. Kitty. Can you not stand on the alarm clock? My God. All right. Of the several reasons that we think the cat is awful, that just became number something on the list. She is sore. I feel for my cat. Poor kitty. But, that's not what I got on to talk about. I did get on to talk about, well, obviously I haven't spoken with you in almost 4 weeks, so I have lots to talk about. But the primary initiatives that have solidified now, as I try to describe what it's like to have that tailwind tell you that's the direction to head, well, I now see that my purpose in the next phase of life is to regather my family, to bring them back together. And I don't know why I didn't know this just a month ago. I thought I had to work on my rehabilitation individually across the board, which to a certain degree, I think I've already done that work, to be fair. Aside from the one person with whom I don't speak, my sister. On her choosing from actions I took against her, including stealing about $2,200 worth of change out of her basement. That's a long story, but you can hear it if you want to go listen to it. I will tell it again at some point, but let's do that when I have somebody who can bounce the responses off of me, because it's kind of a fun story to tell in terms of pegging me down. And I don't mean pegging like in porn. One of the people I've been helping lately is way more conversant in porn than I am, so all of a sudden I've got porn terms in my head that I didn't even know I had. So pegging is a prime example. But stepping back from the entire 21st century onslaught of influence for which I fell to most of. The influence I see myself having now, acting as a kind, forgiving, and understanding human, is, it's all the cliches rolled up in one. You know, it's like, you only get back what you give and all that shit. Man, I'm waking up with the enthusiasm of life that I had maybe as a kid. I'm not even sure I was this enthusiastic for life as a kid. I just love how my days develop, unfold. Put those together, you get envelop. But, and it's in simple ways. I don't find myself rescuing people from burning car crashes. I find myself helping people who genuinely just need a little help right then. And not caring if they give anything back. The help itself is enough. I'm starting to wonder if I could sustain my entire existence on 24 hours a day of physical help to the universe. Would I even have to eat? Is that enough good energy that you just physically never tire? Maybe. I'm not probably going to go test that out. But I might, because I said not probably, so that means I might. But not getting on to talk about that even. What did I get on to talk about? Well, the last month, I've had some crises. For the good and the bad. And so let's start with, let's do this at the individual level, the family level, and then as an American citizen. And then as a citizen of humanity. So 4 different levels. The crisis as an individual is simple. I didn't think my future existed as anything other than an isolated individual. Now, I saw myself congregating, sometimes in groups of thousands. I didn't believe I would be alone and isolated in a Montana cabin, mailing awful packages to people in Utah. I thought instead that I would never be romantically or I just thought I was done with relationships. Intimacy of a couple in kind. And I've thought this since, I want to say 2015. Like, it's been a while, 8 years, 10 years. And this was part of my recovery. Not allowing the emergence of trying to impress that comes out with women that I find myself enamored with. Having that instinct dissolve completely and finally had to happen. It was my worst default maneuver. Trying to impress anybody. But I always had a little of that walking around with me when I was on a date. Or in a relationship or whatever. So I always knew this. I always knew it was something that needed to get away. And frankly, was maybe the one intentional step I made when I withdrew from the game. I said, I'm not going to play fucking charade games of do you like me with anybody. Those games have killed my spirit. And so I figured, well, I'm actually pretty okay alone, so why do I care? I shall live my life in peace, in tranquility, centered and balanced as an individual who no longer pursues pussy. Yeah, okay, I can live with that. Fuck, I'm 53, right? I don't even jerk off but once a month or so. So I guess, well, should I pause for this dab, or should we walk? All right, I'll pause. Yabba dabba doo. All right. Ooh, that was nice. So, sorry, hang on, bud. Wow, I really thought I had the tranquility to work through that. But no. Okay, so the universe, and I thought to myself, but what if the perfect person walks in? Like, what do you do with that, right? And the perfect person has walked into my life exactly once that I noticed. And I fucked that one up. That was the final nail in the I'm the problem coffin. I fucked up my relationship with Nicole. And to be fair, there was a 12-year age gap there, which, considering I met her when I was 31, was significant. And it tainted the relationship in a way that I didn't admit to myself till long after I'd been with her. And I allowed the relationship to feel that taint because I was too weak to fend off what I knew was the strength between us. I still miss Nicole. Nicole was the one other human being that I had walked into that I knew I was destined to be with. It's only happened twice. But it's happened again recently. So, joke's on me, right, universe? Fucking universe. Puts the perfect person in front of me for what? For what? That's the question. And I don't know that this means I'm supposed to be with this person. I really don't. Though every indicator in the universe is swaying toward that outcome. Nothing of any communication exists yet whatsoever. And wanting to protect the privacy of all potential interests involved, I'm just going to leave it at the universe gave me one final shot at redemption. This is not a photo opportunity. I'm not going to end up a cartoon in a cartoon graveyard. Nor am I going to sing any more of a Paul Simon song that I barely remember, but I do remember, I think that much. I will admit to a little bit of, well, maybe it was all worth it. Maybe this is all the way it's supposed to be. Maybe I am finally ready to move forward with the just companionship that I've always believed I could reciprocate. I just had to wade through 53 years of opportunity to come up with my second chance at fulfillment that is complete. Saying not good enough to women that were fantastic wasn't a mistake. But, again, I thought I was supposed to end this thing on a mission de solo, so the idea that it might be I'll take shotgun this time, you drive. I've got pina colada in my hand, and I want to drink it. Well, these were futures I never saw. I mean, I don't even like pina coladas. But maybe it's trying to drink some coconut water and see if I'm wrong. We'll see. So there's, at the individual level, that's the challenge. And it's a worthy one. I am fascinated to see what happens next. I am so comfortable with the maneuvering I'm doing because none of it is maneuvering. It is simply being open to the possibility that the universe is synchronizing me with somebody of value that is having the same opportunity from their side. Where that goes, how do I know? I don't have any idea. But if I don't move forward as exactly who I am in that circumstance, with admittedly some newfound pacing restraint and emotional clarity. This is the best I've ever been. As a relationship potential offering, I've never been stronger. And I've never felt less concerned about whether or not it's going to happen. I'm with potentially the second greatest, or first even, I don't know. Nicole, I don't know, they're a tie. That's the thing. There's so much greatness between what lives I think could have developed in either capacity, that to think I won't feel hurt and a loss if it doesn't come through, well, that isn't true. I know I'll be hurt. But I'll move forward without pause. It's not as if there's anything here except augmentation. This can't upset or derail anything else that's happening in my life. It can only complement it. As I would hope my role in her orbit would be similar, if not identical. Although I think there's some lessons to be learned back and forth. I know there are. Part of the pacing that exists in this reawakening that feels newly developed is frankly reading energy coming at me from the other side and caring to digest that with intent, maybe for the first time, in a way that frankly has made the whole situation easier and more sensible and less prone to skinny dipping in the Mediterranean Sea on date 3, which is fine. So, we'll see. But I think in recognizing this level, I've come to see that I've been waiting to develop something individually across my family's nuclear lineup, at least with 3 of the 4, the 3 I talked to, in a way that they would somehow start to build some cohesion internally by not having me be a problem anymore. This hands-off approach is wrong. Totally wrong. In fact, I'm, if anything, upset that I've not come to the realization that I'm the one here who has to fix the family. I broke it, I can fix it. Then why am I hesitating? I don't fucking know. I don't even fucking know. Ah, man, did I not see this one right until about 4 hours ago. This may have been what woke me up at 4 in the morning. But I got to call a family meeting. I have to apologize to all of them in front of each other. I have to have certain of them apologize to each other for certain events that have never been apologized to publicly as a unit for the family, because the family has to get its cohesion back. The individuals are suffering because they don't have the family strength on which to draw. And having caused most of the chaos that fractured the family in the first place, it is my responsibility to unfracture them as a unit. Now, the individual fracturing that's happened, some of that is taint from my actions, but a lot of it isn't. In fact, in most cases, the taint that needs to get out of them individually is up to them. Entirely. I'm out. But my sister being the specific example, there are some relationships on which I will then have to take the lead to help the unfracturing of the individual. And frankly, with my dad, I don't think anybody else in the family has the juice to get to him. But I do. I know how to get to him now. So I got to bring my family back together. And that's a year-long process. But the family meetings got to happen. tentatively targeting St. Patrick's Day. I got to get the house in order because it's got to be here. They have to come to me. Yeah. But that part, I think, will be easy. I'm not worried about that at all. Now that I see how to do it, I know exactly what will work. And I, the only thing I feel bad about is that I didn't realize this a year ago, or even 2. But I wasn't ready to take this role within the family until, to be fair, probably, obviously, universe, right now. Okay, I get it. But sometimes, and I was originally, I have a list, I really do, called How Can You Change Your Life? I think I actually spent most of February figuring out the answer to that question. Because part of what helping other people has forced is for me to start telling my story a little more succinctly than across a year and 3 months worth of podcasts. Is it a year and 3 months? No, it's a year and a month. 2. Well, gratuitously, this is 2. I mean, this is February. And if I'm going to take 14 months to explain myself to people, they're not going to stand around and listen. So trying to encapsulate the transitional phase that is now upon me, well, I've had to assess exactly what changed my life. Because it's not fair to say I feel all these things newly and for the first time in many cases because I don't know why. I just fucking got zapped by a magic wand. I mean, what the fuck? So, step 1. And we will only go to step 1 because this one's too long to include in what is already a distracted podcast. But step 1, look inside yourself. Ask yourself at your fundamental core, what am I? Well, for me, it turns out I'm kind, I'm understanding, and I'm forgiving. And I'm extremely emotional too, but that's more like the physical body I landed in. But I'm kind, I'm understanding, I'm forgiving. In other words, I'm a loving person in all circumstances. Now, because saying I'm a loving person doesn't break it down well enough for me to know how to behave as a loving person at all times, I default to, am I being kind? Am I being understanding? Am I being forgiving in a situation that feels like it has static or friction or some other level of getting my angst up? Is it me? Can I be kinder? Can I be more forgiving? Can I be more understanding right now? Yes, act that way. My day just got better. That's how it's working for me. Now, I do have more steps than that. But I think if recent conversations with random folk in the universe pans out to be enough of a sample size to postulate this gap, well, I think if you look inside yourself, you're looking for about 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 core, fundamental, I am blank. I am a champion for the weak. Every time I see somebody being picked on, I have to intervene. Well, welcome to the planet. We could use you. We could use a lot of you. What are you? What are you at your most fundamental? What is the action, the reaction, the demeanor you can bring that you know you have unlimited capacity to bring? In other words, you were put here because that you are a fountain of infinity. There's no end to the kindness I can show. I have infinite capacity to be kind. Same with understanding and forgiving. I don't feel tapped out if I give that every minute for the rest of my life. Keep asking for more, I'll keep delivering. And so what inside you can you say that about? And whatever that is, well, as of now, that's your fundamental base act. And when you find yourself feeling not quite yourself, well, then you're not acting in one of those capacities. Figure out which one and act that way. So, I do have other things to talk about. I got a lot to talk about, honestly. But fixing my family will be a focus of March and April and May, June, July, the rest of my life. Because I also have come to understand that you don't just fix shit and now it's fixed. Just like you don't break shit and now it's broken. Everything is a constant state of potential development. And the potential development that we engage forward, however many cooperative energies can be pulled into one productive movement that is bringing the individual or the participant energy up simultaneously, well, that's the kind of stuff that just starts washing over your environment. And people don't even realize why they're in a good mood, but it's because they're close enough to this good stuff that's going on that it filters over to them and starts their energetic potential toward a productive outcome. They weren't really even wondering what the day was going to hold, and now all of a sudden they're doing something because the energy sent them a signal to go do this and be productive in their way. And I know this sounds goofy, but it works. It's taken me a year at the Home Depot, where I work, to start changing the energy internally in the building. Oh God, it was awful when I got there. And it's not great now, but it's way better. And frankly, I've had 2 serious, well now 3, I guess, 3 serious co-pilots on this journey. One of whom I think has had the same intent as myself all along. One of whom doesn't even know she's playing the game. And one of whom is the influential linchpin that's making it all work. So, I had never thought about how the 4 of us really are doing it together. I want to find the other people that are involved, because there's got to be other people I'm not noticing who are also contributing, because we're really changing the attitude in the entire building, which is enormous, considering there's 150 people that work there. And they were all, well, most of them had given up. Not anymore, not anymore. So, I feel like one of the other lists I'm making here are, I guess I haven't really made the list, but let's put it down here on the margins. Reasons I'm now upset at my country. Okay, so being an American is tough because apathy is sort of my generation's thing. But apathy has led us to this, which is essentially having the entire structure of government not represent a single one of my interests, other than potentially keeping the roads somewhat traversable for a bicycle. That's it. Well, and there's electricity and other things to pay for that I think if they didn't avail themselves as something out there to be paid for would suck too. But I'm not sure that that's even government industry. That could all be private at this point. I don't really know. Point is, whatever else they're up to, I don't agree with. Either in a small way or in an entire way. So, yeah. I'll put number 1 on the list. Number 1, and this is controversial, I'm sure, but fucking blanket support of Israel. I'm done with that as an American. You guys, I know, are not, because every single one of you, especially that gets in front of a camera, immediately says how much you love Israel. And I don't know why. Now, this has nothing to do with the Jews. Who even knows who lives in Israel, really? I don't. But I do know this. I know the Mossad has fingerprints all over 9/11 and a bunch of other nefarious shit happening right now to fracture the society that is American society. So if we're not questioning why certain agencies that tie back to an entity that we give blanket support to have caused disruption in our country, well, then what the fuck are we even doing as a country? Do we have any character and continuity and cohesion and camaraderie among us? Because when we are attacked as a group, all the individuals should feel a little sting of, hey, wait, I'm blankety blank. You attack him, you attack all of us. Because we're Americans. Well, when was the last time I had any pride as an American? It's been a while, if ever. You're born into the Vietnam tailspin that is 1969. Walk yourself through the drug-induced, sex your way out of all the guilt decade that was the 70s until you're so excessive and full of yourself you turn yourself into the 80s. At which time you have the rubber band snap back enough for the reality check that was the 90s until reality said, what reality? You know what's fun? If we just create a reality that we think we can maintain, even though we know we can't maintain it, and it'll pop eventually, but we can ride that little bubble until we leave all that mess for the fucking next generation to clean up. And thus, the 21st century. Yeah, it's a little simple, right? I get it. But it's not all that inaccurate. And so, here I sit thinking, well, what the fuck, man? It's not just that shit with the Mossad doing 9/11. There's a lot of stuff here that's concerning. And that, I think, is part of why I need to get my family back. Because I don't want to go through this shit alone. There's too much. I need my sister. I need my brother-in-law. And frankly, I need my dad. Do I need my mom in this one? Probably not. But I'll love her support because she's my mom. So, those 4, are quite the team. And frankly, would be the perfect hiring outcome if I were trying to solicit 4 team members for this project. I would take these 4 and we would move forward with gusto. So, that is my subversive intent for recapturing the dynamic family that I used to be a part of. So, as an individual who's recovered, I now am obligated to recover the nuclear family I destroyed. And as a nuclear family that had lost hope, as we gain hope in each other, it is time for us to transfer that hope all the way to the soul of America. And as we do that, well, maybe we can start fixing some of the issues that this lack of attention and apathy in my generation toward our leaders has allowed to permeate every other country on this planet. I know what America is doing on the world stage right now is abominable. And yet here I sit saying that sentence as if saying it means something. It doesn't. But finding the goodness that is in the American people, that's not a problem. It's everywhere. The leaders in this country are not representative of who we are. We all know it. And we're doing nothing about it. So, seeing that that's probably the place in this universe where I can give my effort toward an outcome that needs the most help, well, that's where I'm going to go. I really think somehow it's time for me to save the soul of America. Okay, I'm not going to end with that, but it's time for me to save something.